Beauty comes in all shapes, sizes, colors, and forms. My life is about bringing out that beauty in everything and helping others do the same. Hello everyone, my name is Jewel, the owner, designer, and creator behind Shabby Boutique. If you want to see how I make my creations, the products I use, and how you can create your own home decor from new, thrifted, or found items, then keep watching. Hello, hello, hello. I'm sure you are all here for the same reason that I am. We are here for the Spring 2025 release of Iron Orchid Designs. I am so excited. This stuff is beautiful, and I know I said that with the holiday stuff, but I'm telling you, it's gorgeous. That's all I can say. It's gorgeous. Before we get into it though, I would like to say a few things. For starters, I know that I am not a regular poster. I don't know when I will be a regular poster. I'm hoping sometime soon. I know I posted the holiday release and then I had all these plans of doing all this stuff. But to be honest, life got overwhelming between orders and other things that I had going on. And so I just really haven't had time to post. So then I thought, January and February is usually slower, so I can post again. Nope. I have been overwhelmed with orders. So between my 5 Etsy shops and my 2 vendor booths, and launching DIY paint in one of my vendor booths and then getting ready to launch it in my second vendor booth and everything else that I've had going on, I just haven't had time. So I'm hoping that things will slow down a little bit so that I can start posting more regularly, at least once or twice a month, hopefully. So for those of you who have stuck with me during my non-posting times, I just want to say that I appreciate it. I appreciate it, you being patient with me. And just to let anyone know if they're going to subscribe to my channel, kind of what's going on. Like I said, just a lot of personal issues and overwhelming orders. And I actually had to rein in my son, who's 22, or sorry, getting ready to turn 22, to help me, which he was not enthralled with. But you know, he loves his mama. What can I say? Anyway, so to get on with the 2025 spring release from IOD, let's start with the molds. The first one is the Blossom mold. And as you can see, it is cherry blossoms. So pretty. And these are nice and deep. They seem to be a little deeper. I mean, the mold thickness itself is the same. I don't know. They just seem to be a little deeper, more intricate. I don't know. I really, really like them. I really do. Something new that I noticed is that on the sides, I don't know if you can see that or not. On the sides here, they actually wrote IOD and then the name of the mold on the side so that you can actually store them on their side and know exactly what it is. So that is impressive because that's how I store mine. I have one of those 3-tiered rolly carts, and I have the top 2 is full of molds like this. And then the bottom is where I keep all my clay and stuff. And then that way I can roll it because I have 3 different stations in my craft area. I have my crafting, and then I have a place over to the side of me where I pour all my molds and stuff. So it's nice that I can sit here and do clay, or if I want to pour molds, I can take it over there. And then I also have a corner that is a paint booth where I do all my painting of bigger items, furniture, etc., etc. So having them in a cart, being able to roll it from station to station, really does work for me. Sorry to go off on that tangent, but you know, the more you know. Anyway, so this one is called Blossoms. That is going to be gorgeous to work with. And it works very, very well with some of the other new items. So I'll explain that as I go along. The next item is vintage brooches. This kind of goes along with the frames molds that they already carry. And you can use these for ornaments, for creating jewelry. I mean, the possibilities are absolutely endless. I think these would be gorgeous if you ran them in clear resin, like our cloche molds, and then painted the outside edge, and then maybe put in a dried flower or something in the middle. That would be absolutely gorgeous. And then, oh my gosh, those would make gorgeous Christmas ornaments. Yes, yes. Okay, so I'm gonna set that aside. Then the next one is Sparrow's Nest. I don't know which way to put it. This one, I know they already have a bird's mold, which is gorgeous, and I use it all the time. This one is a little more detailed, as far as a little more realistic. And I don't know if you can see that or not. The detail in the feathers is incredible. And look at that. The eggs and everything. That is gorgeous. Oh yeah, and I did get a new camera set up. My husband got me a new camera for Christmas. So in my last video, I could not see what I was doing, which is why some of the things were off camera, because my computer is at the other end of the basement and I could not see what I was doing. So this time he got me a different camera where I can actually see what I'm doing, to show you guys the details and stuff. So I am so thankful for him. He's an amazing husband. So that one is called Sparrow's Nest. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Great for spring. This one is the Frames for Mold. Again, look at that detail. I'm telling you, they have outdone themselves with this release. And again, it says the trimming's 4 on the side. And then these work together, because even though like this one has roses in it, it also has the berries. So there's berries in this one and berries in this one. So even though they're different, they still work together. And this would be gorgeous on like the bottom or the top of a dresser to go all the way around. I know we all use the other trimmings for doing around borders or for doing our picture frames and stuff. Oh my gosh. You could take this one if you have a really wide picture frame and just completely do it. It would be gorgeous. So this one is very exciting. I am so looking forward to this one. Now next we have Wild Berries. Again, very, very detailed. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see the detail on that strawberry, the little seeds? These are so pretty. And I know that they are known for doing their detail, but these just seem to be incredibly detailed. I mean, the leaves, I don't know if you can see that, but it is just gorgeous. So you have strawberries and raspberries, blackberries, whatever you want to call them, in different sizes. So you have clusters and then you have the individual ones. So, and then there's even little blossoms and stuff too. So these, oh my gosh, you could put these on flower pots, berry pots, books. Like I love doing the altered books. So I know I mentioned that a lot, but I love doing them. So yeah, this is a good one for sure. And I know strawberries have been in for the last year or two. So for us crafters, especially the ones of us that sell, that's going to be a good one. Okay, so next they have brought in a couple more of their smaller stamps. This one is called Insignia. and it's a box set of 4. This, sorry, I haven't actually opened it yet. These, you're going to get some more letters, which I know we can all use, but look at those. Look at the scroll. That is something I know that I have been definitely waiting for. And then you have this one, which is kind of a vintagey font. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. But look at these frames. They're so pretty. And especially, look at this one. Look at the details in those. Sorry, you're getting the reflection of my light. So I apologize for that. So this one is for doing monograms. Not necessarily that you have to use it for that, but that's kind of what it's for. So you can do your little, like the shield, and then put your letter in there. But I see so much more than that too. I mean, these would work really well with the transfers and stuff, especially like the smaller roses and some of the, I can't think of the name offhand. Sorry. I've been so busy, my brain is a little fried. Anyway, but yes, some of the smaller roses and the transfers and stuff, these would just be gorgeous. Or a picture frame with some transfers, like roses around this way, and then a little one of these insignia in the corner would be gorgeous. Sorry. And I love these box sets because I'm very picky about how my things are organized, and this keeping everything together and then each having their individual packs, to me, is a godsend. Like, I love it. Then we have another one. This is another box set, and this is velveteen, and this is damask, which I love doing on furniture or larger pieces. Look at that. And again, the details are incredible. I mean, it even picks up the crosshatch like on lace. And then that one. And this is a full stamp. And then this one is bits and pieces, so you can kind of create your own damask. And then again, smaller prints so that you can create your own damask or create individual like medallions in between the damask. So pretty. These would be great to stamp on tea towels or handmade paper, or create your own fabric. They're gorgeous. And then the third box set is Countryside Memoirs. Oh, and these do come with masks too. I forgot to tell you. At least this one does. Oh, I guess the other two doesn't. This one comes with masks though. This one is so dainty and so romantic. You've got some borders, you've got butterflies, birds, ribbons. Just very dainty, very delicate, very feminine, romantic, very French. But you got some flowers and some more little flourishes, more birds. More butterflies, more borders. So pretty. And look how detailed those are. Again, excuse my lights and the glare. You could stamp these and then use that decoupage, like stamp tissue paper, like I showed you in one of my other videos. Stamp tissue paper and then use that to decoupage in the middle of the frames, or the, the brooches. I think they would work very well together. All right, now for the bigger stamps. This one is Shade and Song. Take this out. Hopefully. Oh, and I love the fact that they do the printing on the masks. That makes it so much easier when you're trying to mask something off. Look at all those cherry blossoms. And the birds. This is the one I was telling you about that would go amazing with this, because you could do the stamping on the background and then do this in 3D in front of it. That would be so pretty. I would stamp this onto tissue paper, onto white tissue paper, and then use colored pencils and just lightly color in and then decoupage it. Would be so pretty. This also lends itself to stamping and then watercoloring. That would be so pretty too. Again, that is Shade and Song. And the next one is Brambles and Berries. And this one is, there's some strawberries, and then you've got your raspberries or blackberries. So you can do like a full wreath, you can do some corners. Then you have some little ones. Some little fillers so that you can make the vines go off further. So, so pretty. And again, so much detail. They're gorgeous. This would be good too for working with the berries stamp, or the berries mold too. So let's move on to the transfers. We have 2 little books and 1 big book. This is 8 by 12 sheets. This one is called Wild Blumen. And again, I will try to show you without the glare the best I can. But this one is botanicals and butterflies and birds. It's so pretty. So pretty for spring. Oops. And again, there's one of the birds. And you have little bugs and insects. So, so pretty. There's a ton of butterflies in here, which I love butterflies. You have lilies and forget-me-nots and roses and pansies and daisies and a little dragonfly. So, so, so pretty. I love those pansies. And you have hollyhocks and morning glories and even a little frog down there. Very, again, very romantic, wispy, elegant. There we go. This is a rather large bird right here. That would be so pretty. But I like the way they give you just a small little stick or branch so that you can kind of combine it with the other stuff, but it's not so much that it makes it look odd. It's just enough. And you got all kinds of little bugs and birds, and I like the little groupings of birds. Those are so pretty. And then these grouping of wildflowers. Oh my gosh. It's just gorgeous. And the foxglove. Okay, that is it for that one. And again, that was Wild Blumen. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it. The next one is Catharina. And this is more florals for spring. There's a lot of roses. And I'm spying a lot of roses that I've actually used in my graphic design because I love Catherine Klein, which is what these are. A lot of these are hers. I recognize them. I recognize her work anywhere. Those birds are absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you can see them. They are so pretty. And the coloring, I love, it's kind of an orangey, but yet peachy corally color. So it would go blend in with a lot of different things. Oops. And you have more roses. Lily of the Valley, more pansies, daisies. Oops. Just gorgeous details. And this again is 8 pages, just like the other one. I love these forget-me-nots. These have so many colors in them. And again, we've got some daisies and more roses, which I'm a sucker for roses. Everyone makes fun of me because in my video I say I love me some roses, but I do. I can't help it. All right. More roses, wild roses. Just so, so pretty. And these are great for doing smalls. So for those of us that do a lot of upcycles and flips and stuff, these smalls are great for that. Putting on canisters or inside picture frames on, you know, some muslin or something. This one has got to be one of my favorites, the little birdies. And again, some more Klein roses. I've used this one in particular in a lot of my artwork, my graphic design work. I used to design stationery, among other things, gift tags and cards and things like that. So, and the romantic stuff is with a lot of roses, a lot of French has always been my aesthetic. Not that that's the only thing that I can do, but It's one of the things that I love doing. All right, then on to the big one. This one is Lost Garden. This is, let me show you the back. I don't know if you can see how much detail you can see there, but this is kind of a trailing one, like you can see in that picture right there. It's kind of one that trails, starts heavier at the bottom and then trails up to the top. But I don't think it necessarily has to go upward. I don't see anything in it that would say it has to go up, because I'm actually going to use this one in my booth spaces and go from the top of the booth down just to add some color to my booth. But this one is, ooh, like these are all the pages. And this again is 8 sheets, and this is the larger one. So pretty. And again, so delicate. And these all go together. Or of course you can use individual pieces, however you want to do it. But see how it's like heavier, whoops. It's heavier down at the bottom and then kind of trails up, real delicate. But I think you could do it downwards as well. I mean, I don't think the design necessarily screams that it has to be the other way. These are so pretty when you put them all together. Oops. So much detail. And these sheets are pretty similar as you go through. And then they give you some little pieces that you can use, like on drawer fronts, little partial wreath, which you could probably put them together if you wanted to. And then here's some other separate elements. And that is the end of that. But again, so pretty, so romantic. Right up my alley, which is part of the reason why I love IOD. I've been using them for years. All right, now we're going to start with the Gilded transfers, because there is 2. There is the smaller one and then there's a larger one. These have so many uses. These are kind of like frames. It's called Petits Ornements. Oops. So you're going to get a lot of frames that you can use in your picture frames. And these work great with other stencils or other transfers or other stamps. And then I like how they have 2 of the designs that are the same, because then you can do like 2 pictures. And I would do this on a frame with a black background and maybe the kindest regard stamp in the background, and then this over top, and then a smaller transfer in the middle from the Wild Blowman or one of the other ones. And then you have a lot of little ones, little labels, which I think is something that I appreciated in the holiday collection, was that there was a lot of labels and stuff, and they weren't necessarily Christmassy or fall, so you could use them for other things. And again, more flourish frames. Lovely, lovely. This one right here is one of my favorites. It is so pretty. And it's a very classic French theme with the florals and the flourish. Oops. And this is 8 pages. And then again, you have a pair of frames so that you can do, if you have like the pictures that are hinged and you have 2 of them, you could do something like this with that. And again, more frames. Oh, I didn't even realize there was 2 of those in there. That's awesome. And that is the last page. These, oh my gosh, these, so many possibilities, so many possibilities. I love these. Definitely add some gilding to all of your work. And then this one, Seabell. I don't know where that came from. This is, again, this is 4 pages. And these are going to be larger flourishes and frames. But again, very dainty, very elegant, perfect for spring, perfect for French country, shabby chic, romantic. And they almost have that, I love like the flourishes that are hand drawn, and it, because they are so dainty, they kind of have that hand drawn look. But you could use this definitely you could use on furniture because it's a bigger size. So you could use these like in the corners of drawers or around the knobs. And you get several sheets of them. So definitely. And that one is Seabell. I can't tell you. Sorry if I'm sounding a little boring, but my brain is going faster thinking about all the things that I can do with these. And so I'm kind of in my head right now, so I apologize for that. But now we are going to get into the paint inlays. And hopefully this time I am not out of the picture. Let me set this one aside because I know I was out of the picture last time. And a couple of you commented. This one is Portofino, and this is your classic blue and white and lemons. Well, blue and white and yellow is kind of like your classic French country. There you have some gorgeous, gorgeous borders. I love those little seashells. And the lemons. And for me, the blue and the white and the yellow go together. Like, I love that look. My bathroom at our other house for many, many years was blue and white with yellow. So I love the blue and white with the yellow. And then here is some classic fruits. My wonderful husband is going to help me edit this, and he will probably flip that around so you can actually read what that says. He did that for me on the Christmas one. But it just reminds me of a vintage market or, you know, an old style farmer's market, having the meats and the like sage and flowers and stuff hanging upside down. All right. Next. This one I'm excited for. This is so, 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 so pretty. And again, very elegant, whimsical. And remember, you know, when you're using these, you can cut pieces out. You don't have to use the whole thing as it is. And again, my husband will probably flip it for you so you can read it the right way. And then, oh my gosh, look at that. Those are so pretty. I would definitely do these on a tray or in a big, larger picture frame. That would be so pretty. Or if you have a big book that you're gonna redo, upcycle, that would be gorgeous too. And I like having the option with having some of the things smaller, but then also having the larger, so you can work on different size projects and they can all go together. So you can have one piece that's a larger item, but then it matches the smaller items because you've got smaller things, you know, that goes with it. So that you can do like a whole collection. Again, I'm thinking for, you know, the crafters that sell items. And look at those lemons. I love the coloring on these because even though they're bright, they're also pastel and muted at the same time. So they're not like, wow, in your face. They're just like, I'm a lemon. Instead of screaming, I'm a lemon. All right. On to the next page. So pretty. I love those pots of flowers, the urns with the flowers in them. They're so gorgeous. That's definitely something I would do, like a, what do you call it? Where you take the wood and you add all the moldings and stuff on it. Not a frieze. I will think of it. Probably when the video is done, I'll think of the word. Like fresco? No, that's not it. I can't think of what it's called. Panel. Like a panel. Like a French panel. That would be gorgeous. This one is so pretty too. I just love the way everything flows. And you get so many elements in there. It's so pretty. And I'm a sucker for cherubs. I love the cherubs and the little faces. So, yes. Again, bigger projects, smaller projects. And then this is the last page. And this one you get a lot of little smaller elements to put on your smalls. Or, you know, if you just want to do a test, you can use one of the smaller pieces to do a test. And don't forget that with the inlays, for the most part, you should get more than one impression. Just remember that every impression that you do, it's going to be lighter and lighter. But I like sometimes, like on the third impression, you get bits and pieces and it's pastel and it gives you that worn look, like it's been there forever. So, you know, once you use these, don't throw them away. Set them aside, let them dry, and save them for doing more. And you can use like liquid patina. You can use paint. The DIY paint. People have used fusion paint. Now just remember, if you're not using a clear coat, that whatever paint you're using will probably stick to the paper itself. So when you go and do like a second or a third or possibly even a fourth imprint, that pieces of that other paint may stick to the paper and then what could stick to your project. But I personally like that. because I like the worn layered look. Okay, for the last paint inlay, I saved this one for last because this is probably my favorite out of all of them. This one is Spring Melody. This one is so pretty, so pretty. You get 8 sheets, but you can already tell what's in there. Bunnies and roses. I love it. So you get a gorgeous spring toile with roses and birds, and it's in this gorgeous peachy coral color, kind of a vintage pink. I love that. This would be gorgeous like on an old buffet. I have a couple of old buffets upstairs, and they have like a border around the doors. So you could use this as an inset in the doors. Oh my gosh, this, besides for me, because I would put this in my house, but this would also be gorgeous for a little girl's room. Gorgeous. And then here we have bunnies and chicks. Bunnies and chicks. Oh, and goose. I did not even see the little goose. Oh, and there's a lamb and a rooster. I did not even see those. Even when I went through it. Look at those. And you get different colors. This would be great for little ornaments. Oh, especially with the brooches. These smaller ones would be gorgeous and inset in those to make little ornaments for Easter. And you get colors that go together. So like this, if you use the DIY paint, this would be like the vintage pink in the cottage color. This is kind of like cowboy coral, or cowgirl coral, sorry. And then this is kind of like provincial in the cottage color. Yeah, I'm gonna say provincial is kind of like this color. So if you had the DIY paints, you could match these because these are very, very similar. And just saying, if you live in the St. Louis, Missouri area, I do carry the DIY paint, and I have all the colors in the Painted Tree in Ballwin, Missouri. And hopefully soon, I will have it in the Maplewood store as well. I have just been so busy, I have not even had a chance to sit down and order the paint yet. So, and I wanted to get the one booth set up first before I ordered the second, and then the snow, and it's just been crazy. So hopefully here soon I can sit down and order it so that I can carry it there too. Wallpaper roses. I love wallpaper with big fluffy pink cabbage roses on it. This is my favorite sheet. I love this sheet. These are going to be so pretty. I wonder if I could put these on my walls. You know what? I might have to try that. I need to repaint my dining room first, which will probably be a little bit. But I'm going to try to put these on my dining room wall. I will try that. And I will let you know. Because this is exactly my vibe right here. I love like the old bark cloth curtains with the big fluffy roses. I love those. And that's what this reminds me of, or the wallpaper. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I don't know if any of you have tried the paint inlays. I know they look intimidating, sorry, but they're really not that hard. And, you know, I mean, everything has a learning curve, but once you get the hang of it, you will not be disappointed. And then here is another toile. And this is kind of like, I'm gonna say this is probably Farm Fresh or Apothecary. I have all my DIY paints up here in a little shelving unit on my desk. I don't know if it would be closer to Apothecary or I think Farm Fresh. Yeah, I think Farm Fresh would be about this color. I think Apothecary is a little bluer. Anyway, they're so pretty. Look at the little mama with all the babies. They're so cute. And the roses are so pretty. This is such an amazing set. I love these paint inlays. Like, I decorate with bunnies all year long. So for me, it's not just about Easter. And then you have some really nice little trimmings that you can put on furniture. You can cut them up and just use a section of them. And again, you're getting all the colors in the book, so you can mix and match. I love this color palette. This color palette is so pretty because it's colorful, but yet neutral and subdued at the same time. But again, so many uses for these. You can use it on furniture. You can use them on smalls as borders on trays or on picture frames. And then here is another sheet. And this is blues and greens, or blue and green. It's like an olive green. I don't, off the top of my head, I'm not thinking that DIY has a color that matches that. But maybe there is. I'll look into it. But again, got lambs. And as a matter of fact, I think this is the same sheet as the other one that was in the, yeah. So this is the same sheet, just in a different colorway. And I do love like the blue with the olive green. I do love that combination. That's a combination I used to use all the time in my graphic design work when I did the stationery and websites and stuff. So I do love that color combo. And then here you have another sheet of the wallpaper roses. So glad there's more than one sheet in there because I know I will be using these all the time. I'm going to have to order a bunch of them. And don't forget that on the paint inlays, those are limited edition. Once they're out, they're out. Everything else in the collection, you should be able to get. But the paint inlays, they do order a lot of them. Don't get me wrong. They do order a lot of them. So they are around for a while. It's not like the holiday releases, you know, around Christmas time when everything sells out in the first week or so and then you can't find anything. But they are pretty much limited edition. So whenever they're gone, they're gone. And I can guarantee you that this one is going to be one that is going to be highly sought after because of the bunnies and the roses and just the overall themes of everything. And then this is another toile in a different colorway. What was the other one? Oh, the other one was in that Farm Fresh color. And then this one is in the vintage pink. So that is it for the collection. Tell me what you guys think. I'm going to stop this recording and I'm going to get set up here in a bit. And I am going to create some things for you using the new release. I haven't decided because I have so many things in mind to do. And I don't know which one I'm going to do for you. I'll do a couple though. So stay tuned and I will be right back. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed everything. I hope I inspired you to create something with these because I'm enamored. I think they're just absolutely gorgeous. And my brain is just going a million miles a minute of things to do with these. So, all right, check you guys in a few. Bye. Okay, for this project, I have these 2 frames. I ordered a pack of them from, I think, Walmart. I needed to make some signs for my booth, and a 6-pack, I think, was like, I don't know, 25 bucks. They're just MDF frames with the sticker on it that makes it look like real wood. So I'm going to take these out. And the first thing I'm going to do is paint my frames. I'm going to paint my frames in Little Black Dress by DIY. Can't tilt it because it's already open. This is a fresh can because I used up my other ones. So for this, I'm just going to use an artist brush because the frame is so tiny and it doesn't make sense to use a big paintbrush. So if you guys are loving this spring release, do me a favor and let me know you love it, and put a little, sorry, it's hard to paint and talk at the same time, which is why I usually do voiceovers. So if I mess up too much talking while I'm working, it might just be a voiceover instead of this. Anyway, put a cherry blossom emoji in the comments if you are loving this release and can't wait to get your hands on it. I have so many ideas for all of the items. I know people think it's easy to do a vendor booth and sell online and make YouTube videos and, you know, make sure you're getting all your information out on social medias and answering questions, excuse me, from customers. And I do a lot of custom orders. So on top of everything else that I do, I also have that I need to do as well. I'm probably going to be out of frame for doing this end, but trying to get it all painted. And I will, I don't know if I'm actually going to show it or not, but I do paint the back of my frame as well, even though I will cover the back with craft paper so it looks more professional. Again, OCD. I like things to look finished, and I like things to look like I actually put time and effort into it, which I do. I am known for putting a lot of time and effort into my items. So there's one done. And for the next one, and I apologize if I'm breathing real hard. It's kind of a stress thing for me when I've got a lot on my plate and not a lot of time to get everything done that I need to get done. Like I said, besides the stuff that, you know, I want to get done. And so I have a tendency to internalize my stress, which causes me to kind of breathe hard. And it's not, you know, because I'm out of shape, or, I mean, not to say I can't stand to lose some weight, but, whoops, sorry. It's more about just, that's how I deal with anxiety, I guess. Or how my body chooses to deal with it. And stress. Because I always feel like I'm rushed and I'm in a hurry. So it like keeps me on that constant loop of go, 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 go. And so sometimes it's hard for me, like when I do get done for the night, it is hard for me sometimes to relax because, well, I'm kind of a hyper person anyway. But I'm kind of a hyper person, like I always have to be moving. So even if I'm sitting relaxed or supposed to be relaxed watching TV, I can let go and relax, but I still have to fidget or move or do something. So I like shake my foot or I pick my nails or something like that. I've known a lot of people in my lifetime that are like me, that just have to kind of keep moving. Do a touch up over here. And of course, I forgot to mention, I use my heat gun all the time. It's the quickest way to dry paint and get on to the next whatever else you got to do. Okay, I'm going to go set this aside so it can finish drying on its own. I just wanted to give it a head start. Okay, so for the next step, I have these images of old ledger paper that, so I started doing graphic design and designing stationery and scrapbook paper and doing web design templates and things like that. Early 2000s. I don't know where I got these. I have had them forever. I used to use these all the time in my designs. I still do because I love them. I'm going to use these and I'm going to decoupage them. These don't have glass in them. They just have, and I'm guessing it's for shipping purposes because they were not padded or anything. They were literally, all 6 of them were just kind of thrown in a bubble wrap bag and thrown in a box and was just all over the place. But so these are just like thin plexi. But I do it to glass all the time. I am just going to decoupage this paper right onto here. So the first thing you want to do is figure out exactly where you want your design. And I do want all of that at the top here. And this is actually the right size. So I will just go with that. I think this one, yeah, this one's longer, so I will have to cut off some of that, but I'm just going to take my scissors. I do have a paper cutter that would probably make it much easier, but I think that is over in my shipping area. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Any excess around the edge of your glass, you can sand off with a sander, or if you don't cut on the line and you cut in a little bit, the border around your frame is going to cover it up, so it doesn't really matter. No one is going to see the edge unless they take it apart. Okay, there's the first one. So we'll set this one over here. And then again, I want that top part. So either my image is crooked or the plexi is crooked because it's not lining up. Anyway, so I will just take my pen and just do that. And these I just printed out on my inkjet printer. And depending on what it is and the colors, Like these are light colors. I just have a plain Canon printer, nothing special. I do have a Brother laser printer as well, but I don't like the Brother laser printer because colors are just off. Like if I were to print out cyan, which is a brighter color than this, on my Brother printer, it will print it out royal blue instead of cyan. And I have tried calling the company to find out why it does that. They don't know. They've tried helping me reset it and change the colors. Can't figure it out. So that, and if I were to print out something like this in a tan color or a light beigey color or whatever, it would come out pink. Again, the color is just off. Anyway, okay. So for the first one, we are going to grab some Mod Podge. Now for this, normally if I was decoupaging onto something like this, if I was going to decoupage something onto the center of here or something, I would use Big Top or Crystal Clear Chandelier Liquid Patina from DIY. Or I would use Sweet Pickins Top Coats. But because of the fact that this is plexi, for one, this has a little more give. So it's bendy because it has kind of like a plastic base. But then also, you want, since this is a shiny surface, you could, if you wanted to, run some sandpaper over it. But like when I decoupage on glass, I always use this as the base, at least, because it does actually adhere the paper and stuff better on the shinier surface. And then I use this bottle over and over again. I actually get the big gallon sizes. Anyway, so I just refill this jar to make it easier to pour. But what I was saying is I haven't, as far as having an issue with the ink bleeding, if it's something that is really yellow, like really bright yellow or bright orange, yellow does have a tendency to run and smear. But these colors, I don't have any issues with. So if it's just something plain like this, I'll decoupage all day long. If you're doing something that's brightly colored, then I would saturate your paper with some clear sealer and let that dry completely. And that will, the spray sealer, not the brush on sealer, but just use a spray on sealer. Let it saturate into the paper, and then you should be fine for decoupaging. I used to do that when I used to sell gift tags and cards and stuff. And after I would print with my inkjet printer, I would do a spray clear coat over them. And especially with the gift tags, because you figure those could possibly get wet. I never had any issues with any bleeding or anything. All right, so I'm sure everybody knows how to decoupage. I'm just going to put some on, and I like a nice kind of thicker coat. Yeah, this is one thing I like about decoupaging just regular printer paper. It's because you can run your hands over it and you don't have to worry about ripping or tearing it or anything. I did get it a little crooked, but it'll be fine. I always start at the end away from my crease because you always have a lot on your brush when you first start. Especially me, I'm a little heavy-handed, which is probably why I'm such a messy crafter, which is why I never wear anything nice when I craft. I don't know how people can wear nice clothes when they craft. I am horrible. I get it literally everywhere. Anyway, the reason is because if you get too much liquid on your crease when you're doing this, it can wrinkle and bow and show up. So I always start at the opposite end from my crease. See, it's starting to do that right there a little bit. And same thing with tissue paper or decoupage papers. Same thing. I always start at the opposite end. Just so you don't have quite so much. And then if you feel like you're getting some wrinkles, I save all my little pieces of carrier sheet and this isn't the carrier sheet, but like the cover sheet for transfers. I always save these because they're really awesome for just going ahead and using your fingers and just smash any of those wrinkles down. Now, nice and smooth. I mean, most of them will, as it dries, they'll smooth out anyway, so not a big deal. But it also helps just smooth the whole thing down. Because your hand can slide over it, and so it gives you a little more control. All right, set this one aside just for a moment. Start on this one. Since I poured so much Mod Podge, I will go ahead and use that to go over top. But in my final coats, after I put the transfers and everything on it, I will be using a top coat rather than Mod Podge. We're good. All right, I will give this one a little bit of time while I do the other one. For the paper, excuse me, for the paper to relax before I put a coat of Mod Podge on top. So I'm going to grab the other one. See, it looks a little wrinkly there. Wrinkles are out. Okay, back to work. Sorry, my husband just got home from being out of town for a couple days, so he wanted to stop in and say hi. Always remember when you're decoupaging, if your surface is wet, then you can slide much easier. So I'm, again, pretty heavy-handed with the Mod Podge because in that way, as I'm brushing over it, the surface is wet, and so my brush doesn't, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't kind of like rip at the paper as it goes across. It slides and glides. But in the areas where there isn't enough or isn't any, if my brush doesn't have enough on there, then the brush will kind of grab. That's the word I was looking for, as it goes across. Like right there, it's starting to dry already, or I don't have a lot on there. So it's starting to grab. And I'm using my brush to not only get the decoupage medium on there, but I'm also using it to kind of smooth it down. And like I said, normally for this step, I would use a clear coat, but I poured way too much Mod Podge, so I'm going to use it. And then I will set this aside to dry. And then now that the paper has had a few minutes to relax, see, no more wrinkles. I might need a little more Mod Podge. So I'll pour a little bit more. Whew, not gonna lie, it is a little warm in here, which is unusual. So we just moved into this house. It's actually been like 2 years or so. But the house, we still own the other house. My son lives there, one of my sons. But in the other house, I had just finished an amazing craft room with built-in lighting for filming. We had, for my camera and everything, we put in the middle of my room. We had outlets in the ceiling, and I had all these bookcases that we built in with trim, and there was molding and bullseyes around the doors, and gorgeous, gorgeous. And literally right as we finished it, we were thinking about adding on to the house that we were living in at the time. And because it has just a very, very tiny eat-in kitchen, and my husband and I both like to cook, and story time, I guess. Anyway, so we both like to cook, and there was like a really tiny pantry, hardly any cabinets. And so what we wanted to do is on the back of the house, build a dining room, and then like on the back of the kitchen, and then on the back of the garage, we were going to add on like a mudroom, butler pantry, laundry room type space. And so I started looking on Zillow to try to find like open houses to, so that I'm a visual person. So I wanted to actually go into dining rooms and laundry rooms, and kind of just do measurements, see if it's the right size, try to figure out what we really needed. And the first open house, because I figured if we did an open house, we're not bothering anybody. There's going to be other people there, rather than making an appointment or something. So the moment this is the first one that we found, or that I found, that I like, the dining room and the laundry room. And so I was like, hey, honey, let's just go measure, see if it, just kind of get an idea of what we really needed. And as soon as we walked into this house, we were like, man, this just feels like home. And I'm going to get emotional. And in less than 30 days later, we were living here. I never even got to use my other craft room. It's disappointing. But so right now, until we can build me another craft room, I am in the basement area of what used to be the previous owner's shop. So it's concrete walls, concrete floors, and I make the best of it. But there's no vents in here. And right now it is probably, I don't know, 0 degrees maybe. Outside, it's very, very cold. And so normally it is very, very cold in here. And I have like a little, it's a heater, but it's like the radiant heater in here. And when I first came in here, it was cold. And so I turned it on. And then I literally had to take my jacket off, which is why I had the little marks on my arm, because I had my jacket sleeves pulled up. And I had just turned the heater down because I'm like, man, it is getting hot in here. Normally I'm freezing. Anyway, so, ooh, I see a little bubble. So I just caught a little bubble right there. So I'm going to take a little bit of the Mod Podge. It's easier because this stuff is so sticky. It's easier to work with the top coats. But as long as it's wet, you can take your finger and push that little bubble down, which is something I've mentioned a couple times in my decoupage videos. that as long as you're not creating friction by having the liquid on there, you can actually get those little bubbles out. Okay, so the DIY paint did a really good job with pretty good coverage, but as you can see, it looks like there's little scratches. So I'm just going to go ahead and give another coat. Quick tip. Out of breath now because I just got done cleaning some brushes. But a quick tip, when you are cleaning Mod Podge out of your brush, I have found that using cold water, because it has that kind of plasticky consistency, I found that using cold water to wash your brushes out actually rinses them out more so. I find that if you use hot water, it actually, how do I describe it? It's almost like the Mod Podge kind of adheres to your bristles. I don't know how to explain it, but it doesn't really wash it out very well. And I've actually, until I figured that out, I ruined a lot of brushes. Which, I mean, these are kind of cheap artist brushes anyway, so it's not a big deal, but just a tip. And then also, like, I left this kind of sitting out and it was dry a little bit. So to get my brush so that the tips of it aren't dry, as you notice, I went like this in my pan, and it just kind of breaks your bristles apart and softens them back up again. I do that all the time because I'm bad about leaving my brushes sitting out while I'm doing other stuff because I work on multiple projects at a time. And you have to be careful when you're doing a second coat of the DIY paint. Since it is clay-based, that means it is water-based, and water can reactivate the clay. So you don't, when you're doing a second coat, you don't want to work too much, or you will just start taking off what you already put on. So you'll start lifting, because the dry paint will become moist again, and then you will start lifting it. So other than that, it's just like a regular paint. I really enjoy using it. It dries pretty quickly, especially if you use a heat gun. All right, second coat on that one. And for a second coat on the second one. Okay, so now for the next layer, we are going to take one of these frames. This is the, the Petits Ornements. I'm guessing that's how you say it. I'm going to take these frames and put these on here. So set this aside to finish drying, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut these out. Now, do remember that once you use the shiny part on one of your projects, you can, if you use the sizing, you can use the remainder. So if you cut it out nice and even, then you can actually do this in reverse, basically. So this part would adhere to your project. I have not tried it yet, but I know Jamie and Zeb have tried it from Jamie Ray Vintage, and I can't think of who. I saw somebody else do it. but it's been a while, so I don't remember who else it was. But you would just basically, you know, put it down with the sizing and then wait. I guess you wait for it to dry. I've never actually done gold leaf before, at least not since high school. That was many moons ago. So, but yeah, you can use this as like gold leaf. Not sure how straight I got it, but pretty good. And then we are going to layer on top of the frame some of these beautiful florals from the Catharina. And I think I'm going to do one with these pansies because I love those. And then I think I'm going to do, I think the pansies would go perfect in there. And then let's see. I know I want to do a rose because, like I said, roses are my favorite. So this red one, I think that would be gorgeous. Yes, that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. Do any of you start cutting and then go, oh, did I make sure I only had one page? So I'm not cutting through another transfer? I do that all the time. Okay, there's one. And then let me go back to the pansies. And the sheet's already kind of out of there, so. But these are going in my booth. So I know not everybody likes roses like I do, so I figured I would do something else, add a little variety. But I think there's another set of frames in the Petits ornaments, and I think these birds would go gorgeous in the middle of that. Doing something very similar. I was actually going to use, instead of doing the decoupage, I was actually going to use drop cloth. I was actually going to use drop cloth and glue that to the, not the glass, but the plexi, which I've done that as well. And then do this on that with this over top. But I couldn't find my drop cloth. I have a huge piece of it somewhere and I could not find it. So, and I didn't want to open another one. So, decoupage it is. All right, so these are ready to go. So I'm going to hurry these up a little bit. The other thing I like about this is these images. Again, I don't know where I got them. It's been so long ago. But it actually looks like a page because you can see the print on the other side come through. And I like that. If you do use a heat gun, make sure you're constantly keeping it moving. Mod Podge, since it has that kind of plasticky, kind of like with the cottage color paint or any of the fusion paints that have the built-in sealer, when you're using a heat gun, they have that kind of plasticky or top coat, built-in top coat, and they do have a tendency to bubble, and so you don't want your Mod Podge to start bubbling. And actually, if this was glass, I would have done the dry method of decoupage, where you would coat the glass with your Mod Podge, let it dry, and then I would have ironed the paper on. But because of this being plexi, I didn't want to take the chance. I don't know what kind it is. I don't know if it's a cheap version, and I did not want my iron to melt it. So I did not do that. But if it was glass, and I have done that with canvas prints before too, because whenever I do a picture frame with a canvas print in it, I always just decoupage it onto the glass directly. And so I do the dry method with that. And then I do decoupage over top, and I do it really heavily in brush strokes to make it look kind of like an actual painting, so it has texture. But Again, that's just me. That's how I do it. But you just want to keep this moving. You don't want to keep it in a spot, one particular spot, too long. Okay, now that I have dried this a little bit, it's still warm, but it's dry. I am going to, I'm not even going to sand the edges. I'm just going to bend them back. Anyway, I'm going to set this aside to cool. It's a little warm. Again, Mod Podge has that plasticness to it, and the little bubble is gone. And you can still feel, because it's cool to the touch, so it's still slightly damp underneath. So I'm going to do this one too. Set this one aside to cool. All right. Now, I'm going to figure out where the middle of my paper is. Okay, so about a ½ an inch from this line here. And what is, it's about 8. So it is pretty centered top to bottom. That is about the center there, and about the center there. I use a little piece of painter's tape to tape it in place. But before I stick it on there so it doesn't pull this up or mess up with that, I always stick it on my skin first to get rid of some of the extra tackiness. And then I will use that to tape that down. And then I can lift up my sheet and pull out the backing sheet. And I know that this is in place. All right. I just kind of go over it all. I will start lifting. There we go. Once you start getting it, I kind of feel like if you kind of pull up as you do it, once you get it started, it's pretty good. The Gilded ones are a little more finicky than the regular transfers, but oh my gosh, they're so worth it. The just touch of elegance that it gives, gorgeous. Again, sometimes they can be a little finicky. It depends on what kind of surface. Like this surface, probably not the best for putting transfers on. And you can tell when it's all lifted because you can see through it. I don't know if you can see that or not, but you can see through it. It's like some of those little dots don't want to come off. Sometimes a light touch works, and then other times, again, it depends on the surface that you're working on. Those little circles are kind of stubborn though. I think I was better off the other way because I can see through it as I pull it up. So you can kind of slide a piece of paper or something under it, and you can kind of check and make sure, like I missed a couple little dots here. Okay, that one is done. Just like a regular transfer, you want to burnish it all down. This is the backing sheet, and I'm using the rougher texture side versus the smoother side. When you have those little pockets, you get less friction, so it slides easier. Although I know it seems like it would be the opposite, but all right, perfect. So we have that. And then let's do the second one. Okay. Again, I'm OCD, so this is something I want to be a little more perfect. I think it moved a little. Okay. So this needs to go over just right here. Okay. Double check the top. Good to go. Again, I tape that on there so I can then pull my sheet up, smooth it down. All right, I'm gonna rotate this around so that I can pull as I go. And sometimes you almost need to pull it up, put it back down, and then burnish it again with your stick. And honestly, I think a little bit of a lighter touch compared to a regular transfer actually helps. And make sure you have your stick at a really low angle. It really does help. And again, you can take your white piece of paper. Oops, that one didn't come off. And you can double check to make sure that everything came off. Gonna do an extra little burnish. And again, I'm going to take the rougher side rather than the smoother side. Perfect. I love it. And then again, I will set these aside because I am going to buy some sizing and try the little trick. I think these would be gorgeous in a picture frame. And then even over top of that gold, you could do a transfer. Now, I need to figure out how I want my rows. I think like that is lovely. And now I will go over top. And once again with transfers, if you lift up and it doesn't stick, you have a little piece or whatever that doesn't stick, lay it back down, rub it in. It will. Usually like on a bigger area like this, once you get that edge down, you can start pulling back and you should be fine. Like here, there's a couple really little bitty pieces. So once I get those down, sometimes those little pieces, like on the tips of the leaves of the rose, sometimes those are a little bit of a pain. But once you get that tip down, then again, the rest of it will come right up. There we go. I just had to get the edge on that leaf. There we go. And again, use the inside, the part that the actual transfer was adhered to, and use that to burnish that in. It's a rougher surface, so you're not going to get as much friction, and it slides easier. And I find that the more you burnish it in, like you don't want to over burnish, but the more you burnish in, the one thing about IOD transfers is they have a very tiny, I guess like a clear edge to them. And if you burnish them in really well, you won't even see that. Oh my gosh, that is gorgeous. All right, let's do the pansy one. Or I guess I keep calling them pansies, violets. Sorry, that's what I meant, violets. I want it off kilter a little bit. Kind of like that. I always go over it, kind of the whole thing first. And you don't have to rub real hard. Sometimes, like I said, on these little pieces, these little edges, you might have to rub a little harder to get it to stick. But for the most part, you don't have to do it very hard at all. Again, also depends on what kind of surface. This is a little more, not awkward, but a little harder to work with the Mod Podge than if I were to have used a regular top coat. You can do so much with transfers though. They're so easy to use. You can put them on your walls. You can put them on furniture. You can, just like I did here, you can, you know, put them on cloth, drop cloth, muslin, canvas, glass, mirrors, old windows, canisters. I mean, you can put them on anything. And they pack a punch. and turn something really super simple into something elegant and beautiful. I think that is gorgeous. I think that turned out beautiful. Okay. Now I'm going to flip my frame over and do the back side. And my brush is, I might have left it out a little too long. We'll see what happens. I think it'll be okay. Like I said, the back is going to be covered up with craft paper anyway. For doing 8x10s, I have craft cardstock, and I use that to cover the backs of my picture frames. Anything bigger, then I have rolls that I use. But even though somebody won't see it, I know it's there. And that is part of my OCD. Like I said, sometimes I am messy because that's the look that I'm going for. But even then, sometimes it's hard to let go. Okay, and then I always run my finger around the edge after that, just to get any globs if there are any, and set that aside to dry. Okay, do the back of this one. Okay, so back to the pictures. I am going to put a clear coat over top of them. This is actually the next day. I was in the middle of painting the second coat on the back of the frames, and I forgot to turn my softbox lights on up above, and so yesterday when I was doing the crafting, it was probably a little darker because I completely forgot to turn those on, and that same circuit or plug, whatever you want to call it, is the same thing that powers my camera. And so my camera battery went dead because normally it's plugged in, so I don't have to worry about, you know, my battery going dead. And so that happened. So it is the next day. And like I said yesterday, I did the Mod Podge clear coat on the paper, but I am going to seal the top with, I don't have my DIY top coat handy. So I do have my Sweet Pickins top coat in satin, so I will just be using that for now. But you can use any clear coat. You can use poly, you can use the DIY, you can use whatever you like. And I don't need anywhere near that much because a little bit goes a long way with this, so. But I have it, and just gonna grab. So I'm just putting a clear coat over top just to protect the transfers. So if anyone needs to clean this for some reason, the cleaner shouldn't affect the transfers. Set that aside, pull out the next one. These came out so pretty. I'm so excited. I can't wait to get them all together in the frames and everything. And then actually, since I have this clear coat out, I am just going to clear coat the frames as well when I get done with this. And there we go. Set those aside to dry. Okay, and I did get, I don't know if you can see that, but I did get a little bit of a lump of paint when I painted the back. So I'm just going to take my little sander and just kind of sand that smooth. There we go. Oops. You could use whatever kind of sealer you want. You could use wax. Like I said, I poured too much. I have it out. I don't want to waste it. Plus, I don't like having to have too many supplies out at one time, whether it be different paint colors or whatever. Make sure I'm getting a good coat on there. The one thing I like about the Sweet Pickins top coat is that it is actually a food safe top coat. So it is all natural. That and it does not take long to dry at all. Set that aside. And one of the things I like about the DIY paint is you can always tell when you don't have your top coat because it'll be lighter. So if you missed any areas, you will see it. All right, so I'm gonna flip it over and do the back because it's pretty much dry. Run my finger around the edge just to make sure I don't have globs. And set that aside. And for the second one, double checking to make sure I didn't miss any places. Maybe a little bit right there. And this one isn't quite dry yet, so handy dandy. And now to do the back. Okay, that one's dry for the most part. Dry. And then, okay, for my next step, even though I like that and think that looks really good, I feel like the frame just needs a little bit more. So I'm going to add a little bit of decor wax. I have Rub and Buff, I have Golden Ticket, I have a bunch of different gold waxes, coppers, all that stuff by various brands. I do like the ReDesign with Prima one. It is buttery soft. It's way cheaper than Rub and Buff. it was in arm's reach. So, like I said, I always keep my transfer sheet carriers and backings, and I use those for paint or for, in this case, putting a little bit of wax on. The other thing, I love Rub and Buff. Don't get me wrong. I love all the gold waxes. But the one thing about Rub and Buff is it's so hard to get off your finger, because I use my fingers when I do this, and it is so hard to get it off your finger. And you can use a little bit of clear wax, or I have some of that Lysol kitchen cleaner in the yellow bottle that takes it right off. But if I'm just sitting here at the desk doing stuff and I don't necessarily want to get up and wash my hands or whatever, I do like the, this comes off your fingers really easily. This is in the color Eternal, and I get this from, since I sell Sweet Pickins Milk Paint, I also have access to some of the ReDesign with Prima items. As since I carry IOD, I can't carry any of the items from Prima that I carry with IOD. They take precedence. But since they don't have a decor wax, I can carry the ReDesign decor wax. I'm going to hit up this edge. And I like kind of pulling it out a little bit so that you don't have that much on your finger. And then I always start in the corners with the heaviest and then work my way towards the center. I don't know why. That's just how I do it. I think because it gives it a little bit of variance. And you don't have to do a lot. I mean, I could do full coverage if I wanted to, but I'm just going for just a little bit, just so the frame doesn't look so plain compared to what we're putting in it. And then I will do a little bit around the edges. And this is optional. You don't have to add the gold wax, or you can use a different color of wax. You can use whatever color you want. I just think it gives it a little bit more of a high-end look. And I don't care if my wax is even, because if it's an aged item, then some of it's going to be a little wore off. So you can see the side-by-side comparison. Like I said, you can stop at the plain black. I personally like just the little bit of gold. Like I said, I want it to be kind of sheer. It doesn't necessarily have to be full strength. If you want it full strength, you can do it full strength. You know, everyone has their own preferences. Everyone likes certain things. Other people don't like that. You know, it's up to you. But to kind of give an idea, I just think this one brings out the gold in the frame, which is the other thing I like about the color of the Eternal wax, is it definitely, with these gold foil transfers or gilded transfers, the coloring is very similar. So, but I personally like the look of this over this. Okay, these are ready for the pictures. Okay, I'm going to put the white side down And I'm going to go ahead and leave the mat in there to take up room. And then I will put that back on. And there we go. There is the violet one, pansies, whatever you want to call them. Done. Right side down. Match. And there is the rose one. I think they came out gorgeous. And here they are side by side. So they make a great pair for a grouping. And I think I might have to make some more of these. I think these are gorgeous. Let me know what you think in the comments. I think the highlights of gold around the frame help balance out the gold in the transfer. I love this Catharina transfer. It is so pretty. And all of the roses and all of the florals in it. Like I said, I've been using those in my graphic design for over 20 years. I think they came out adorable. I realized that this was an extra long video and tutorial. So if you made it to the end, thank you so much for your time watching it, and I appreciate you. If you fast forward through some stuff, that's fine too. If you don't like what I created, that's fine too. We all have likes and dislikes, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, don't forget that all of the links and places where I sell sweet pickins and DIY products and IOD products are all in the section below. So you can go to my shop and purchase your items, or I have 2 vendor booths in the Painted Tree locations in St. Louis, Missouri. So you can find all the products there as well. So for now, again, I appreciate you, I thank you, and until the next project, I will see you soon. Bye. Let me know what you think of this project, and if you have any questions or something in particular you would like to see me make, or a product in particular you would like to see me use, feel free to leave a comment below. Thank you ever so much for watching, and until we meet again, have a most serendipitous day. Hugs to all. Love, Jewel.